What if everything you thought you couldn't do was actually just a lie your brain told you? What if right now you're only operating at 40% of your actual capacity? Think about that for a second. You have a whole other 60% waiting. Today we're breaking down Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins, the blueprint from a man who turned himself into an absolute machine. A former overweight Navy SEAL dropout who became one of the toughest humans on the planet. This isn't some genetic lottery winner. This is a guy who decided he was soft and then spent years dismantling every limitation he had. His secrets aren't complicated. They're not some mystery diet or special training program. They're just brutally effective. The 10 principles we're covering today will fundamentally rewire how you approach pain, failure, and your own potential. Let's get into it. Takeaway 1. David literally stood in front of a mirror and confronted himself, not in a metaphorical way, physically. He stood there and confronted every weakness, every excuse, every way he was sabotaging himself. He wrote it down. He stared at it. See, we're all masters at self-deception. We convince ourselves we're trying hard when we're barely trying at all. We tell ourselves stories about why we can't do something. But when you put your face in front of a mirror and actually voice those excuses out loud, they sound pathetic. They sound weak. They sound like what they are, lies. Goggins writes about looking himself in the eye and saying you're overweight, fix it. He didn't say it with self-hate or anger. He said it with accountability. He was calling out the lie he'd been believing. Here's your action step. Go stand in front of a mirror. What excuses do you tell yourself daily? What stories do you believe about what you can't do? Write them down. You can't change what you won't acknowledge. Takeaway 2. Goggins discovered this during SEAL training. When your mind tells you to quit, you're only at about 40% of your actual capacity. You've got another 60% you haven't touched. Your mind is the limiter, not your body. Every time you feel like you can't go anymore, when you're exhausted, when your muscles are screaming, when everything in you says stop, you're only halfway through what you're actually capable of. He realized this during Hell Week. That's the most brutal part of Navy SEAL training. It's days of constant physical punishment with no sleep. He was completely broken. He was about to quit. He was going to give up, and then something shifted. He realized, if I'm feeling this destroyed, this beaten down, then I've probably got way more left, so he pushed through. When your brain says, I'm done, you're not done. Push for just 5 more minutes. Then 10, your mind is lying to you. It's trying to protect you from discomfort, but discomfort isn't danger. Takeaway 3, your mind works like skin. This is such a powerful metaphor. If you want to be mentally tough, you have to intentionally expose yourself to discomfort. Over time, your mind develops calluses. It becomes harder to break, just like skin hardens from friction. Goggins talks about purposefully doing things that suck: cold showers, running in the rain, extra sets after you've already hit your goal. Why? Because each time you choose discomfort, you're telling your mind that suffering is survivable, that pain doesn't destroy you. The soldiers who survive combat aren't always the physically strongest. They're the ones who trained their minds in discomfort. They practiced facing difficulty before it mattered. So when real combat comes, nothing rattles them. Nothing surprises them. Your action step: do one uncomfortable thing this week. Take a cold shower. Work out when you don't feel like it. Something that makes your brain revolt. Because every time you push through, you're building mental armor. You're callousing your mind. Takeaway 4, keep a mental cookie jar. This is a simple concept, but it's powerful. Every challenge you've overcome, every goal you've hit, every moment where you thought you were done but kept going anyway, you're storing these wins in a jar in your mind. Why? Because when things get dark, and they will, and you're facing something new and terrifying, you can reach into that jar and pull out proof. Proof that you've already done hard things. Proof that you've already survived things you didn't think you could survive. He was about to quit the Navy SEAL. Completely broken. Beaten down. And then he reached into his cookie jar. He remembered everything he'd already overcome. You've already failed before and kept going. You've already been broken before. You've already survived things you didn't think you could survive. Write down 10 things you've accomplished that were hard. When life gets hard again, and it will, you have proof that you're not new to hard. Takeaway 5. Taking souls means this: in any competition, any challenge, you have to be willing to outwill them, to want it more, to be more committed to excellence than they are. Goggins isn't just running a race, he's dominating the landscape. He's trying to make people feel the depth of his commitment. That's not arrogance. That's psychological dominance. It's presence. It's understanding that you've prepared more, suffered more, and you're willing to go further than almost anyone else. When you compete, whether it's a sport, a job interview, a negotiation, go in believing you've paid the price. You've done the work. You're the most prepared. Everyone else has to match that energy or lose. Takeaway 6. Being a Navy SEAL puts you in the top 0.01% of humans. That's already incredible. But Goggins discovered even among SEAL there are levels. Most SEAL are content being SEAL. They stop pushing. They've made it. But the uncommon amongst the uncommon, they keep going. They're not satisfied with elite. They want legendary. Goggins didn't retire after becoming a SEAL. He ran ultramarathons. He set world records. He climbed extreme mountains. He's constantly asking, what's the next level? How can I get better? That next level exists in your field too. Your action step. Don't ask, how can I be good at this? Ask, how can I be uncommonly good? What would change if you committed to the top 1% of your field? What would you have to sacrifice? Takeaway 7. Most people run from pain. Goggins flips this completely. His philosophy, suffering is where growth happens, full stop. Not just physical growth, mental, emotional, character growth. Soft, comfortable lives create soft people. Your mind and body adapt to their environment. If your environment is always comfortable, they adapt to comfort. But if it includes regular discomfort, they adapt to resilience. They become stronger. Everyone in SEAL training felt the pain. Everyone was suffering. Everyone wanted to quit. But the ones who looked that suffering in the eye and said, I'm not afraid of you, let's go, were the ones who finished. They embraced it instead of running from it. Real talk, you're going to suffer anyway. That's life, but you have a choice. You can suffer randomly, suffering things that happen to you, or you can choose your suffering. You can control it. You can own it. That's where power lies. Takeaway 8. Goggins talks constantly about the governor, the mental mechanism that holds you back for your own protection. Your body is actually capable of way more than your mind lets it do. Your brain has this built-in safety limiter, like a governor on a truck engine. It exists to keep you alive, to prevent you from doing something that would actually kill you. But here's the problem. It doesn't just protect you from death. It also keeps you from greatness. It tells you to stop at the first sign of discomfort. It convinces you that you're not the type of person who can do hard things. You can override the governor. You can't destroy it. You shouldn't destroy it. It keeps you safe. But you can negotiate with it. You can prove to it that discomfort isn't danger. Over time, it loosens its grip. Takeaway 9. Armoring your mind means preparing yourself psychologically for the things you know are coming. You're anticipating obstacles, pain, moments of doubt, and building mental defenses before they happen. Goggins does this before every event. He mentally rehearses everything that could go wrong. He visualizes the pain. He imagines quitting, and then he visualizes pushing through anyway. He's seeing failure before it happens so it doesn't shock him. This isn't positive thinking. This isn't telling yourself you got this and expecting that to work. It's ruthlessly honest thinking. This is going to hurt. I'm going to want to quit. My body is going to fail, and I'm going to keep going anyway. You're preparing mentally for the reality you'll face. Your action step, take the one thing you're most anxious about coming up. Visualize it. Get intimate with the worst-case scenario. Once you've faced it mentally, it loses its power. Takeaway 10. Goggins became obsessed with one question. What if? What if I actually tried? What if I didn't take the easy road? What if I didn't listen to everyone who said I couldn't? What if I actually went for it? Most people, when they look back on their lives, don't regret what they did. They regret what they didn't even attempt, the opportunities they didn't take, the dreams they didn't chase. He realized living without regret doesn't mean everything will succeed. It means you tried enough times that the question stops being what if and becomes so that's what happened. You've gotten the answer. You know what happens when you actually go for it. Your final action step, write down 3 things you deeply regret not trying. Not someday, not in 5 years, right now. What would make you look back and feel proud? What's the version of yourself that you'd respect? Because Goggins' whole message is this: You can't hurt yourself with effort. You can only hurt yourself with inaction. Can't hurt me is simple. It's the work of a man who decided that comfort was his biggest enemy. The accountability mirror forces you to see yourself clearly. No hiding. No lies. The 40% rule reminds you that you're stronger than you believe. Callousing your mind makes suffering productive instead of destructive. The cookie jar gives you evidence when things get dark. Taking souls means dominating your space through sheer commitment. The uncommon amongst uncommon challenges your idea of good enough. Embracing suffering flips pain into mastery. Understanding the governor shows you what's holding you back. Armoring your mind is preparation. The what-if question is the legacy question. You're capable of way more than you believe. Way more. The only thing stopping you is your willingness to be uncomfortable. That's it. That's the entire game. Now go take a cold shower or something. Actually do it. Do something uncomfortable today. Build that callus. Thanks for watching Audiobook Bay. We'll see you in the next one.